All right, now we're going to solve the right triangle, which that just means find all the missing angles and sides rounded to the nearest tenth. So I want to just kind of point out a few things from geometry here. We have capital letters and we have lowercase letters. So whenever we have capital letters, we're going to, that's naming an angle. That's the angle name. All right, a lowercase letter is how we name a side. So we see here that this A is talking about the angle because that's a capital. So this angle is 35 degrees. And the side C is 16. So the side is always across from the angle. So this one is side C over here. So C is equal to 16. Now they only gave us 2 pieces of information. I need to find all the rest. The first thing that I'm going to try to find here is that missing angle. So remember from geometry, 3 angles add up to 180. So to find angle B, I'm going to do 35, the given angle, plus 90 degrees, this angle right here, plus angle B, all has to add up to 180. And then I'm going to do the math to figure this out. Add up 35 and 90 to get 125. 125 plus B is 180. Subtract 125 from both sides. So angle B is equal to 55 degrees. So I got my first missing piece of information. So this missing angle right here is 55 degrees. And again, you could probably do that without showing work. All right, now let's move on and look for, let's do side A first. So I'm going to look for side A. Notice A is across from angle A, and this is the angle that we're referring to. This is the opposite side. So don't get confused with the name A and it's actually the opposite side. It's not the adjacent. So I've got the opposite side and I know the hypotenuse. So opposite and hypotenuse uses sine. So I've got the sine of angle 35 is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. In order to solve, I multiply both sides by 16. And now you can just actually type all this into your calculator. 16 times sine 35. 16 sine 35. And you should get, we're going to round to the nearest tenth, 9.2. All right, we're still missing this third side right here. So I know that now this is A is 9.2. Keep in mind that was a rounded side. You could do Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side. I'm going to do trig again just because my answers are going to be a little bit more exact. So I'm going to look for side, we're going to call this side B because it's across from angle B. I'm going to use the given, that's why I did those in pink. So I was given that this is 16, that's a hypotenuse. I know this angle is 35, and this is the adjacent side. So I'm going to use adjacent and hypotenuse, which is cosine. So I've got cosine of 35 is adjacent, which is B, over the hypotenuse, which is 16. To solve this, multiply both sides by 16 and use your calculator. 16 cosine 35 gives me 13.1. Now I have all the missing sides and angles of that triangle. All right, on this last example, we're going to look for missing angles. I mean, we could do everything, but to save some time here, we're just going to find what it's asking for. So this just wants the measure of angle P. So I'm going to circle angle P. I'm given an 11 and an 18. I do not know the hypotenuse, so I'm not even going to label that. The 18 is opposite from that angle, and the 11 is adjacent. So I need to figure out which trig function uses opposite and adjacent. You can write SOHCAHTOA if that helps you. So I see here that tangent uses opposite and adjacent. So I'm going to do tangent of angle P. I don't know the angle. Remember we call angles theta? So I've got tangent of theta is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. All right, when we don't know the angle, we're going to use the inverse of tangent. So the angle, theta, is equal to tangent. I'm going to put a little -1 there, and that stands for the inverse, 18 over 11. So this is just a matter of typing in your calculator. So I added a couple little notes here if you want to pause and write these in, but when you don't know the angle, you're going to use the inverse, or it's also called arc tan, if it was sine to be arc sine. Then you just hit the second button on your calculator. Let me do this with you guys here. So if you have a calculator like this, you're going to hit the second button. And then when I hit tangent, notice you get that little -1 exponent there. And then 18 divided by 11. And it gives me 58.6 degrees. All right, let's try another one. In the next one, we're looking for angle U. So I'm going to label the 28 and the 19. Notice 28 is across from that right angle, so that's actually the hypotenuse. And the 19 is opposite from the given angle. So opposite and hypotenuse uses sine. My missing angle we're going to call theta. So I'm going to do sine of theta equals opposite, which is 19, over the hypotenuse, which is 28. Again, since we don't know the angle, we're going to do the inverse of sine, or arc sine. And that's going to look like this. Sine, with that little -1, 19 over 28. And then from here, you're just going to use your calculator. So if I do second sine, and then 19 divided by 28, I'm not even going to use my fraction button this time. That gives me 42.7 degrees. And we're done. If you guys have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys later.